So, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I am going to teach you the fundamentals of building what we call financial independence. Sometimes, when we talk about financial freedom, that doesn't feel very good. When we talk about wealth, it feels a little bit scary, but financial independence is a word that I absolutely love. And so, we're going to break this down a couple different ways. One, I want to talk to you about the five things that are probably holding you back right now, why you haven't actually reached financial independence, or why you might be struggling to build the wealth that you want in your life. How did I go from being $100,000 in debt to 5.5 years later, having seven figures and then building on top of my first seven figures? We're going to dive into that. I want to teach you how to build financial independence through a story. I had a friend call me today. I was driving down Pacific Coast Highway, one of my favorite drives over in Del Mar, and a friend called me, and I want to tell you about that conversation and how, in basically 10 minutes, I taught her the fundamentals on how to build financial independence. So let's dive into it. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to subscribe. I do these live calls every single Monday. I call them Make Money Mondays. I have free web classes that one is actually about to come up. So you want to make sure to join that. It's going to be in 2 nights. We do them every 2 weeks. So the next one is coming up Wednesday night at 5 p.m., 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the link is already in the show notes. So you can do a couple different things. One, if you want help in this area, go on and schedule your free Discover call with my team. We will help you. We will really help you uncover what your financial picture looks like right now and how we can start scaling and supporting you to reach your goals. So that's number one. Number two, you can go on and click the link so you can register for my free wealth building call that's coming up on Wednesday night. And really, what I do with that is I take what could be really complicated sort of philosophies around money and building wealth, and I make them super easy during this presentation. You're going to leave with tangible tools and the value to now inject that into your plan so you can start building wealth. And so we have that as well. And I also have a free wealth building community that you can join over on the school group. And what's super cool about that is I actually have free courses in there that's just our gift from me and my company to you. So you can go into our school group. There's videos in there for you already. You can go through each module, and we've built those out just to simply help you. So let's dive into tonight. Like, why are we here? We're here because I really want to help you build financial freedom, and I want to teach you how to build financial independence. Before we do that, let's dive into probably the five things that are holding you back right now, that is typically holding millions and millions of people back. So I took some notes here. I want you to get a tremendous amount of value over these next 20 minutes. So, number one, you're not building a wealth that you want to because you don't care enough. You're not building the wealth that you want to because you don't care enough. It simply isn't a priority for you. You have many priorities in your life. If you are a parent, you have your kids as a priority. You probably have your job as a priority. You have your business as a priority. You have your church as a priority. You have God as a priority. You have maybe working out as a priority. Maybe your nutrition is a priority. All of these things are not good and they're not bad. It's just that you have prioritized your life in such a way that the things that are important to you get your time. And right now, you're not building financial independence because it's just not that important to you. It might be important to you, it's just not more important than many of those other things that I just talked about, or many of those things that you are putting in place of it. If this is something that you actually really, really want to do, then it is like any other relationship that you're going to have in your life. Like, you cannot have a fit, cut body, freaking biceps, all out, big pecs, big shoulders, and quads if you're not prioritizing working out and having healthy nutrition. You can't have a really healthy, valuable marriage that's full with honor and grace and wisdom and love if you don't put the time in and make him or her a priority. You're not going to be the parent that you want to be if you don't spend the time and you don't cultivate those relationship with those little babies, and you're not going to build the wealth that you want and have financial independence and financial freedom if it ain't something that's important to you. If you go to work every single day and all you're thinking about is like the job, and then you come home and you're thinking about like how I get the kids to soccer practice, or how do I come home and like watch Pop the Balloon, or whatever the hell it is that you do, and this thing isn't super ingrained and sketched on your mind, and it isn't something that you're thinking about all the time, it isn't something that you're researching, it isn't something that you're writing about, it isn't something that you're reading. Like if I ask you, hey, what are the last 10 financial and investing books that you read, and when did you read them? And if you're like, oh, you're struggling to answer that question, and you're not saying like, oh, shoot, here's the last 10 books I read, here's the last 30 podcasts that I listened to, these are the lessons that I took from it, I'm writing the stuff on the whiteboard. It's just you might care, you just don't care enough. In a way that the world works, the way that God works, the way that the universe works is, if you're not planting and if you're not sowing, you're not going to reap. That's just the way that it is. So you might care, it might be important to you, but it isn't important enough. When I Ooh, when I decided that I wasn't going to be broke anymore and I wasn't going to be struggling, I was not going to live paycheck to paycheck, and nobody was going to control me anymore because I didn't have the finances that I wanted. When I made that decision, I got the hunger that you could feel my body shaking. I would stay up at night. I could easily go into tears. I would just be thinking about it. I would listen to the same financial CD back then, DVD set, over and over and over and over and over again until I remembered it by heart. And that was the only time that I would switch that CD, is when I remembered that whole thing by heart. And sometimes that would take me months. And whether it was Tony Robbins, whether it was Jack Canfield, whether it was Jim Rohn, whether it was Robert Kiyosaki, whether it was like whoever it was, I would indulge and engulf that material, and I would make it a part of me. And if you're not doing that, you might care, you just don't care enough. Number 2 is fear. One of the biggest things that's holding you back right now, and you hear it all the time, is false evidence appearing real, aka fear. One thing that's holding you back right now is you feel like you need to know way more than you need to know. You feel like I gotta see the whole staircase, and what I'm telling you is you don't. All you need to do is just take the next step. This thing isn't like, oh, today I start thinking about it and I make a decision, and tomorrow I'm wealthy, rich, financially independent, whatever. No, it is today I make a decision. I don't know what's out there. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in the next year or 2 years or 3 years. And I don't really know how long it's going to take me. But what I do know is today I'm going to do the things that's necessary, and I'm just going to take the next step. And then tomorrow I'm going to do the things that's necessary, and then I'm going to take the next step. And then the third day I'm going to do the things that's necessary, and then I'm going to take the next step. And then it's just that over and over and over and over and over again. The problem with you is you're not even taking the first step, or you take the first step and then you lose focus, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and then you backtrack, and then you're just in a rocking chair like this. But most of you right now that's listening to me, you're not even taking the first step because you're like, oh, it's too hard and I don't know enough. And because I don't know enough, I never actually start. And you procrastinate and you procrastinate and you procrastinate. You're like that overweight person that keeps saying they're going to wait until Monday to start eating better, and Monday never comes, or Monday comes and they have like two of their meals is healthy, and then by dinner time they've already fallen off the wagon. And the problem is, subconsciously you don't believe. Subconsciously you're afraid. Subconsciously, like you're letting fear run you instead of you running fear. And these are things that are getting in your way, it's tripping you up. So you gotta identify that for what it is, right? I might be a perfectionist. I might be someone who procrastinates. I might feel like I'm the type of person that has to know all the things before I actually get into action. And if that's you, then identify that and make the decision tonight to now lean into that. Whenever you feel those things, you look at it and you do the opposite of what you've been doing, which is running away. And this time you actually run to the roar. You run to the scary thing. Whenever you feel afraid about anything, please do not be that kid at school that runs away from the bully. I I used to be the kid that ran away from the bully. I would run away from things that terrified me. You and then something shifts and something switches, and then you say, "I'm never again am I running away. I'm going to attack force with force." And that's what you need. Number 3 is discipline. Quite frankly, you lack it. Building wealth is about doing it isn't about doing big things. It's about doing little tiny things over and over and over again for a very long time. A mentor told me a long time ago that success was nothing more than little small disciplines practiced every day. Little small positive disciplines practiced every day, while failure was little negative habits practice every day. Isn't that amazing? And then over time, guess what happens? Guess what that lack of discipline starts to do? It now starts to corrode your ability to design the life that you really want. This isn't about will. It is not about intelligence. I graduated high school with a 2.2 GPA. I was so dumb that my wife wanted to leave me basically the first freaking 5 years of my marriage. Why? Because I was stupid. That's why. Dumb. So it isn't about intelligence. You don't have to have PhDs. You don't have to have baccalaureates. You don't have to have you don't have to have like master's degrees. You don't have to have none of that stuff to build wealth. You do not trust me from a guy who spent the majority of my life. You do not. What you do need to have is you do need to have discipline. Discipline. Number 4 is do I have to switch my internet? Let me see here. Number 4 is ignorance. Ignorance. Um, you just simply don't know where your money is going. You just don't know. I mean, part of it is neglect. Part of it is apathy. Part of it is, um, I don't know. I guess folks get busy. I guess we just get busy doing all the other things, but you don't know where your money is going. I'll tell you a little bit later about my friend who I was talking to, but at, have you ever heard someone say, like, I get to the end of the month and I don't know where all my money is going? I don't know where it went. Isn't that interesting? I don't know where it went. Do you know where your kids are? I don't know where they went. Right? Do you know where do you know where I mean, I bet you know where your favorite artist goes, right? Your singer? I don't know. Oh, next week they're going to be in LA. Week after that, they're going to be in Houston. You know where they go, but you don't know where your money goes? I don't know where it went. So we're just ignorant. We don't know. And we don't know because apathy. It's just not that darn important. It's important, just not that important. And so I don't know. Here's what I want to leave you with. You have to know. You know, I built a health and wellness business. That's how that was an opportunity that was given to us, and that's really how I got my start. I got an opportunity to, start my own business, give me some products, and now I need to go build a business with these products, go source me some clients, and then scale that business. I did that. What I learned in that business was most of the people that were unhealthy and most of the people that put weight back on was because of one thing. Want to know what this one thing? I mean, it was several things, but this thing that I'm about to tell you about is a big thing. They failed to have consistent monitoring, meaning they failed to look at what is my weight? Did I gain weight this week? Did I gain weight over the past couple days? Did I gain weight? You know what they would do? They would make really bad decisions, and they knew that they were making these bad decisions, so they would avoid the scale. They didn't want to know. If I don't look at the scale, this means that I'm not eating too much and I'm not getting fatter. That's what it was. We do the same thing with our finances. I don't want to monitor what I'm spending because if I do, I know I haven't been doing a good job. So if I just don't pay attention to it, then you know what? It ain't really happening. And you know what that's called? That's called ignorance. We don't want to do that. We want to monitor this spending. Number five is just mindset. It's just mindset. Mindset. Your reality is always going to follow your mindset. I see it all the time. I'm actually going to show you some. So I put up a video the other day, and the video basically said, um, one of your biggest problems isn't what you make. It's the fact that you're not keeping what you make. You're not growing what you make. And I had someone reply to that video and they said, "Stop the BS. You can't save yourself the wealth," which is true. "If you don't have the capital, you can't make the capital except for exceptional people or outlier cases. Bottom line, you need money to make money. If you're poor, you're poor. Being frugal and cheap leads to a worse quality of life and the very poverty mindset that these same people say is the root of poverty." Okay, so when I read that, I said, "Oh, okay. That person is probably struggling." Why would I say that? Because I just got a sneak peek into how they think. Everything they just told me all I needed to know about them because they themselves have mindset, a poverty mindset. And so our reality is always going to follow these thoughts. So if we're okay with the status quo, right? If we're okay with, let me break it down to you like this. I started to think like this. I started to think in terms of net worth. And I started to think like, okay, I wonder if I could double my net worth every single year. Now, when I hit a million, I could have just been okay there. My mindset could have been, hey, you're good, man. Black dude, you've made it this far, seven figures. Very rare, extremely rare, extremely rare. Chill out. You're good. Just live in the status quo. You got a nice little house. You got nice little things. You can take care of your family. Just be okay with being okay. That is a mindset. And yet the mindset was, okay. I remember even when I bought a property that was $1.8 million. Dollars. And I remember people kept referring to this property as my dream property. And every time they would say that, I'd be like, what? What? This ain't my damn dream property. But for them, that was the end of the road. That was like you had reached the top of the mountain. And for me, that was just another stepping stone. Mindset. Mindset is the thing that's going to separate. If you get okay with this darn status quo thing, I promise you, you are going to stay where you are. I'm good, man. I'm good. And my thing was like, how do I double this? How do I double this thing every single year? Okay, so I want you to analyze those 5 because those I promise you, and I want you to jot down how many of those 5 are you actually be honest with yourself, are you actually, like, struggling with, okay? And I want you to write down which of those 5, and I want you to go to work on them. Let me tell you about my friend. So my friend called me, and she's been watching my stuff for a minute. She's gotten on probably 2 or 3 of my free web classes. She's tuned in to some videos. She's, looked at my social media stuff. I'm always giving free advice on my Instagram. By the way, go follow me if you haven't at the real Jamil. So at the real Jamil Frazier. So like even today, I told you guys about a stock that I told you guys about months ago. And now I'm up 60% on this freaking stock, have made thousands and thousands and thousands of thousands and thousands of dollars on this dang thing. Anyway, so she's been watching a lot of my free stuff. So one of my reps gave her a call today because she's registered for one of my events, and so one of my reps from my company gave her a call just to follow up with her and love on her. And after he called her, she just like called me straight, and she was just like, "Look, here's the deal. I want to do like I should have listened to you, and I need to make some changes and all the stuff." And so I'm gonna tell you exactly what I told her. Now, I promised myself about a year ago that I wasn't gonna do what I did today anymore, which is just give a whole bunch of free advice, which that's not really true because I give free advice every day. If you follow any of the stuff that I put out there, I am always saying exactly what to do. It's just that, like, most people aren't going to do it on their own, and that's why they need to hire us as consultants, right? It's because we are going to come in for a large part of it, we're just going to do it for you. But the other part is you need coaching and you need accountability and and listen, if you're not good at a thing, there's a reason why. Right? Like if I'm not good at shooting free throws and I tell myself, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna go out there and practice shooting 100 free throws, what's the likelihood that I'm gonna go out there tomorrow and practice 100 free throws? Not very high. And even if I go out there and practice 100 free throws, I don't have anybody coaching me. It doesn't make any sense to shoot 100 free throws and have terrible form and be shooting the wrong way. It'd be much better to have somebody who knows how to shoot free throws be right next to you and be like, nah, bro, like you got to get your elbow up right here. And when you shoot, you got to have a straight follow through. And then you want to have a base in your legs. You want to bend down and you want to, right? Like you need that. If you're out there shooting free throws, 100 free throws every day, like Shaquille O'Neal, just bricking, you're wasting your damn time. So, I mean, so anyway, she called me and, um, again, it's not an income problem. She makes enough money. Um, so it's not that. The problem is a lot of the stuff I've been talking about. Not focus on it is not that big of a deal. Fear, um, and bad habits. It is literally bad habits and bad choices. Bad habits and bad choices. Bad habits and bad choices that now over years have compounded into about $100,000 of debt. Does she need this debt? No. Does she have to have this debt? No. Why does she have this debt? Bad habits and bad choices. I told you your outcome is going to follow your mindset. So your mind, look at what reality is for you right now, and that's going to tell you where your mindset has been. Okay? Like it is that simple. Look at what reality is. If your money making you more money and working harder for you than you're working for it, it is because something is wrong with your mindset. Okay. If you got thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of bad debt, then something is wrong with your thinking. It is nobody else's fault. No one's holding you back. It isn't some sort of system. It isn't your husband. It isn't your wife. It isn't the kids. It isn't the way. It isn't like what happened may happen to you when you're a 5-year-old child or something. Like something is currently wrong with your mindset. And now that is showing up in your actions and activities and your habits and the way that you do life. And now you've gotten an outcome. So how do we fix this then? How do we fix this? Why does it keep saying that my internet connection is messed up? How do we fix it? Um, One, it's got to become important to you. So, and now needs to become a desire. Number two is we have to now start to decide that we're going to be different and do different with our money. So one thing that I was telling her is she's been at this job. She's a very loyal employee and she's been at this job for like 17 years, something like that. And I'm asking her, well, when you get your money, what do you do with it? And she's like, I don't really know. Like I pay bills and I have some spending money. I was like, that's one of your first problems is you don't respect it. You don't respect it. Like you're not trying to have financial independence because you don't respect it. What does she mean? And she's like, "What do you mean?" I go, You don't respect the money that you have." Like I love my wife. I respect my wife. If I go out with my wife and like another dude wants my wife, you think I'm just going to give her away? Right? Wouldn't it be stupid? I love my wife. I honor her. I respect her. I want her. I want to build a life with her, and I go out to a concert and like 10 dudes are like, "Oh, I need your wife." I'm just going to hand her over? No, what am I going to do? I'm going to keep her. So if I make some money and as soon as I get this money, I got 10 people and creditors and credit cards and rent and all this stuff that wants my money, you think I'm just going to give it away? No, what do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna keep it. She ain't have it because she doesn't respect it. So you got to keep it. And then she's like, "Well, where do I keep it?" You got to keep a portion of it in savings. Where? Well, I'm not keeping it in a bank. Well, where should I keep it? It's so funny because like all of this really intricate stuff that I told her, she for real should be paying for. Like for real. But you know, we go back. That's my girl. But she should be paying for it because now she's asking for specifics. Where do I put it? What bank do I put it in? Right? Like that's a lot different than me saying put it somewhere where you can get like higher interest payment on your money, right? And now she's like, where though? What name? How do I do it? You know? Um, so anyway, like we gotta start keeping a portion. Okay, awesome. What next? Well, listen, you have $100,000 of debt. She was like, where do I want to start investing? And at first we were talking about investing, but I was like, wait a minute. I think I remember you had debt, right? She says, yes. I said, we got to hold off on investing. Why? Because right now you are a slave to your master. Who's my master? Well, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, wherever you got your car from, in those in those vehicles that you co-signed for that are now in default. Bad choices, bad habits, right? So you are a slave to your master, and your master is debt. Now, what you want to do is be on the other side of that. You want to be lending money, not necessarily borrowing it and having to pay interest on it. You want people to pay interest to you, but that ain't going to happen for you because your mindset is warped. You don't even think like that right now. All you think is like how I can go through the day and work at this job and work hard for money. You don't spend a tremendous amount of time thinking, how do I get this money to work hard for me? And what I'm telling you is once you start to change and reframe your mindset, then you'll start to think differently, which is why my company is called Think Life is Different. And once you start thinking differently, and you're like, wait a minute, why am I spending so much time thinking about how I'm going to work? Why would I spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day thinking about how I'm going to work for money? Why do I spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day thinking about how I'm going to get money to work for me? Why would it doesn't even make sense to me anymore. It used to make a tremendous amount of sense. But now you move into the creative space. So, but before I can start doing that stuff, I got to pay off this debt. And she's like, how do I pay it off? I start teaching her how you pay it off. How do you pay it off quickly? This is how you do it. You have to lower these expenses. You have to up your income. How do I up my income? I had to tell her how you up your income. And it doesn't even have to be that much. Lower my expenses by $1,000 a month, increase my income by $1,000 a month. Keep making the minimum monthly payments on the first line item of debt. And then combine all that, I should have a couple $1,000s a month in addition to the minimum payments, in addition to me paying myself a little bit more. And so I should be able to go ham on this debt. And I told you it's about discipline. I'm not going to pay this debt off overnight. It may take 6 months. It may take 12 months. It may take 24 months. It may take 36 months. Discipline is the name of the game. It's not that you can't do it, and it's not that it's difficult to do. It's just easier not to do it. It's easier to make excuses. It's easier to be normal. It's easier to follow the Joneses. It's easier to be persuaded to doing other things and buying things and going places that you should not be going because you haven't earned the right to go there. You haven't earned the right to buy that stuff. How do I know? Because you're not free. You're not free. Okay. So I had to teach her that stuff. Then I said, once we start and once we pay off all that debt, we should have thousands of dollars that are left over. And guess what we're going to do with that? We're going to invest. We're going to invest. Where are we going to invest? There's three primary places that I love. Number one, real estate. Number two, stock market. Number three, lending. Now, lots of places to invest. Those are just three. But those are the three. Why? Because I'm going to take a dollar and I'm going to make this dollar make me $100. I'm going to take $100 and I'm going to make that $100 make me a couple $1,000. And I'm going to take a couple $1,000 and I'm going to make that money make me a handful of thousands. And eventually, I'm going to start investing millions of dollars and I'm going to make those millions make me way more millions for doing what? Nothing, nothing, nothing. But see, the problem is like we look at somebody who's 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, 40 years down the line, and we're like, oh, that's so big, right? I'm never going to get there. And what we're doing is we're comparing our beginning to their midpoint or end. And we all know that comparison is the thief of all joy. And we all know that in Zechariah, it tells us, do not despise of the days of humble beginnings, because the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. Meaning, plant your feet where they currently are and get going. You don't need to think about freaking 60 years, 20 years, 10 years down the road. What you need to think about is today, but have long-term mindset. So I want to think in decades, but I want to work in days. And in my last company, what we called that was we lead from the future, but we act in the now, right? That was one of our monikers, one of our mission statements. So that's what we want to do. Okay. And then we just do that over and over and over again. and we make sure to leave a legacy. But it really starts with that. If you don't have the want to, though, this is why people drive me crazy. Oren, of course, Jim Rohn. So Oren knows all these people. Not only does he know them, you go to his house, he's got pictures with all these people. Love that. Thank you, Oren. Oren, do me a favor. Click on the YouTube, jump over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel over there, and share that video. Give it a thumbs up. So that's what I want to encourage you today, right? How do we create financial independence? And I like financial independence. It doesn't sound too scary. It doesn't sound too much in your face. But what it does sound like is if stuff hit the fan, can I survive on my own good habits of making myself independent from a job, from a business, from the government? Can I survive on my own healthy habits? What I've done to build up my finances in such a way that I am independent of anyone or anything. What a worthy goal to have. What a worthy goal. And here's the thing, it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter what gender you are, it doesn't matter your starting point. At any point in time, you can start and then start building. I started the journey in 2013. And by 2018, 5.5 years later, I had my first 7 figures. Okay. Now, that 5.5 years, I was 33 when I started, I think. So whether you're 33 or 43 or 53 or 63 or 73 or 83 or 93 or just 3 or -3, it doesn't even matter. It literally doesn't even matter. You can start this journey when you're -3. When you're -3. Did you know you can start building wealth for a kid that you ain't even had yet? Like, we gotta stop with the damn excuses, though. That's why I can't stand freaking victim mentality and people saying all this stuff. Saying all this stuff. I told you, it's mindset. Okay? It is mindset. Mindset. So, just a quick recap, the 5 that probably holding you back. You don't care enough, which talks about your focus. You're focused on other stuff. The this ain't gonna grow unless you force it to grow. Number 2, fear. Right? You need to see the whole picture before you take the first step. Number 3 is discipline. Number 4 is ignorance. You don't even know where your money is going, which is crazy. At the end of the month, I'm like, how much did you spend on food? I don't know. How much you spend on gas? I don't know. How much you spend on alcohol? I don't know. How much you spend on those drugs? I don't know. How much you spend on the kids? I don't know. How the hell you spend all this money and you don't know what you spent? How much, like, how, what? What? Ignorance, right? Like, how much did you spend on entertainment? I don't know. How could you not know? Number 5, mindset. Okay. And then I took you through the steps that I took my friend through as well. So listen, if this encouraged you at all, I would love to hear maybe just one thing that you came into this maybe challenge with, and one thing that you can walk away from this and start to implement tonight. 5.5 years is where I started. And then from there, I'm telling you, man, like, you get that first 100K invested. I got 2 out of my 4 kids already have the first 100K invested. 2 out of the 4. The other 2, the 6-year-old and 2-year-old are right on the heels of these other people, right? Of my 14-year-old and my 10-year-old. But once you get that first 100K invested, I am telling you, that thing takes on a life of its own. And it is not unusual for it to start doubling and tripling and quadrupling. Okay. So, but we got to start. We got to start the process of not just working and working hard, but controlling your expenditures and having them work hard for you. If this was helpful at all, go on and subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up. We will see you next Monday on Make Money Mondays. You'll see the live come on to the screen, and then drop me a comment and let me know what really stood out for you. And until the next time, you know what to do. See you soon.